Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.
And we're back with another episode of the Pop Culture Cosmos. Gerald Glassford, come right back at you here for the Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports, Fantasy Football, Game Source, Pop, of course, the Lakers Fast Break. Truly appreciate you joining us. Make sure you go ahead and give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Plus, also make sure you go ahead and share the love by liking, subscribing, and also as well, make sure you go ahead and check out everything we've got for you at the Pop Culture Cosmos, whether it's on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, or of course, any audio podcast outlet. And a big shout out to all the radio stations who cover our show on a weekly basis as well. Big love for you. Big love for you indeed. But it wouldn't be a Pop Culture Cosmos without my good friend. It is, of course, the guy behind so many great things, including the Plucky Gamer. Of course, also as well, Humanican Media. Of course, also as well, the Happy Hoarder, and so much more. Go ahead and check out what he does at thehappyhoarder.com and get many collectibles today. Hopefully, he'll get some San Diego Comic-Con specials there. It is, of course, Josh the Great Peterson. What's up, man?
One of our distributors about the San Diego. Sorry, do I need to start over?
No,
I didn't realize that was me. Okay.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I've been getting emails from one of our distributors about San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. The problem is in the past is that every time the only like Comic-Con exclusives people want are the Funko Pops. Like in the past, I've ordered Power Ranger exclusives, DC Multiverse exclusives, Marvel Legends exclusives, and the figures are just so stinking expensive that like people out here in Texas don't want to pay that premium for them. So I don't really order a lot of that stuff anymore. They're cool, but it's just not practical to keep on the shelf, you know.
Now, you were telling me as we were going on the air about the now stricter measures these local mom and pop shops have to do to probably protect themselves from the more increasing rate of Pokemon theft, and that wanted to hear that more before we actually they gave us the code to go ahead and get on the air. So let me know your thoughts on what's going on with that, because again, that was very interesting. Like you said, that's becoming more high tech, I believe is what you were trying to say.
Yeah, they're using facial recognition cameras, and I know like right now, like the flock cameras are a big topic of controversy all around the country. But the in stores they're using software, and it's fueled mostly by AI. You know, they're like checking you. So they do that to make sure, like, hey, if this guy's coming in every day to buy Pokemon cards, they're probably scalping. And I'm not sure if on the back end it like tries to like trace you back to like social media pages and stuff, but like they're doing that to keep scalpers from buying cards, and it's to make sure that you're not buying more than you should. So it's basically recognizes you, and if it flags this as being like suspicious, then the people at the store get involved and try to figure things out from there. But yeah, it's definitely interesting.
Now, is this to just thwart scalpers? Because yeah. I mean, technically they're customers too. I mean, I'm not trying to defend them at all, but I thought it would be more to like criminals and things of nature, because the higher rate of theft going on with Pokemon.
So it's interesting actually, because GameStop is the only one that's really embraced the scalpers market, and they're the ones that have, now they're pricing their cards at market price, right? There's difference between MSRP and market price. Market price is like what it's selling for online versus what the manufacturer wants you to sell it for. And I think from what I understand, a lot of these stores, the mom and pop stores, but also like Target and Walmart are starting to get, they're starting to get frustrated, I guess, from what I understand, at this whole movement, because they're losing. Like, why am I going to sell? It's that idea of like, why am I going to sell something to somebody else that's going to sell it for, $100 more than what we're selling it for? So they're trying to, they can't necessarily raise the price that much, because then people won't buy them at all. But they're at the point now where they're trying to stop it, because that's that ruins their bottom line. So it's definitely interesting because you have so what I've noticed too, like last week Sam's Club did an exclusive drop of like the Ascended Heroes. I forget what the bundle is called, but it's exclusive to Sam's Club. And you go out to Sam's Club and there's lines all the way around the building. So what that tells you is that people are actually like, despite what the the statistics are saying, what the government released statistics are about unemployment, it's people are actually not uh, people are actually quitting their jobs and doing this full time now, and that's can't really be good for the our what's already happening with our economy, man.
But they can't pay their health bill with Pokemon cards. They can't go up to the medical center. Thank you for treating my broken leg. Can I give you like this whole, starter set as payment?
Yeah, but you'd be surprised at what this stuff's selling for, man. Like,
No,
so
I
here's an
wouldn't be
example.
surprised. I've seen it now, my friend. I've seen it.
Yeah, but okay, so last thing I'll say here is that we go out to like the cons and stuff, and now the mom and pop, like the dealers at these cons are actually they're slitting the packaging on the thing, or they're putting coloring marker all over the front of it, and this is to basically prevent people from buying it and then turning it around on eBay for a bigger profit. So it's definitely, I don't know if it's going to stop anything, but like me personally, I'm not going to buy something that's open, so like hopefully that will kind of curb things a little bit. But also I think once 2028 rolls around, that new printing factory opens up in Tennessee, I think that's definitely going to be a sign of things are going to start to crash a little bit with the trading card. We'll see, man. But yeah, it's all definitely the psychology of it's very interesting.
Well, we'll see. But let's say you and I opened up a business in the storefront, mom and pop traditional brick and mortar store. I don't think, if we're selling it at market price, then I don't care who I'm selling it to, as long as it's, legitimate money. I'm taking it in for. Would that be? Is that wrong for me to say that? If I'm, let's say, we are selling to resellers, but as long as they're paying our market price or what the market price demands, are we at fault for doing so?
No, I definitely. I mean, like this is it's like video games, right? Like you see a market, and this is how investments typically work. Except people aren't putting investments in stock anymore; they're investing in like physical things. But no, I don't. I definitely don't think so. But I think it also is creating a problem where it's not sustainable. Like Pokemon cards at MSRP is sustainable, right? Because kids can go in and buy them. Hobbyists can buy them. People who actually play the games can go in and buy them. At some point, we're going to reach a place where we are so far beyond equilibrium that the levee's going to break, and it's going to end up just being scalpers selling to scalpers, and then all the people that were in that actually like collect, trade, whatever, like they're going to be completely out of it. So once the scalping market breaks, then nobody's going to buy cards anymore. And I think that's the fear, the projection of that is what people are afraid of.
And I can't blame you. I do think that the market will crash. I mean, inevitably, that every market seems to have its ebbs and flows at some point in time. You just can't continuously go up and up and up and up. So at some point in time, it's going to have to crash. But I'm just interested to see it exactly as far as how people are able to go ahead and take advantage of this. Like, again, resellers with video games, physical video games. There's resellers of different kinds of media. It's just interesting to see how many people are taking advantage of the situation right now, and not just in Pokemon. But again, Pokemon is absolutely the key driver of a lot of this right now.
Yeah. So there's a company that I've followed online. They're called Flip, right? And they what they do is you can pay a monthly fee to subscribe to their bots, and their bots will pick up literally anything that you want. It's almost like it should be legal, but it's not. But I guess. But
now
anyways,
that's a little different from what that's a little bit, like you said, it's very.
That's what's happening though. Like it's any online sales. It's all bots. Like you can't even if you go have a thing set to like buy as soon as you click the link, the bots probably scoop everything up. Like the bots are a major problem. They actually crashed the Amazon Japan back when they were doing the 30th Pokemon 30th anniversary drop. But anyways, yeah, these guys were selling. There's like a special Starbucks cup came out a couple weeks ago, and these guys were picking them up and reselling them on eBay for like $350. Man, it's crazy.
Jeez. Well, I'll tell you what, we live in that world right now where anything can become valuable. And it's so funny because I still remark over the day, whenever you go to Trader Joe's, if you go to Trader Joe's at the right time and get those small little bags, there are people that wait hours and hours and hours beforehand and sell it for 5-6 times the cost on eBay. And these are just little canvas bags at Trader Joe's, but because they're so wanted all over the world, it's just crazy indeed. But if you have any thoughts on these collectibles skyrocketing price and that the I guess lengths that people will go to try and curtail that industry, please let us know your thoughts. popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Man, tell you what, it never seems to end with Pokemon. And again, we talked about Locana getting into a little bit of notoriety itself, Magic the Gathering, and more. Yeah, it's just crazy. And trading cards as a whole, sports cards. Yeah, it's big money indeed.
Yeah.
But my friend, there's still much more to talk about on today's show. We've got the box office, and the back half of the show we'll devote to, of course, what is going on with Comic-Con. Wanted to go ahead and discuss the weekend box office. The Odyssey looking at a great hold for its second weekend. IMAX driving the theater again, just absolutely amazing numbers. Another $87 million here domestically. It has now reached $640 million worldwide as of this recording. My friend, I want to ask your thoughts on the Odyssey's continued success at the box office, and can it reach $1 billion? Because I'll tell you, there's a little question why, but I want to hear your thoughts first on that.
I think that it can reach $1 billion because I mean we don't have, like, out here in Waco, like we don't have IMAX screens, but the tickets seem to be selling out more or less on most of the shows out here still. So I mean I think it's got the legs to reach $1 billion. This is how many weeks out? It's been 2 weeks, right? And it's sitting at 640 million. Yeah, I mean. I think it has the potential to. I'm not going to sit here and claim that it's going to, because I feel like in order to say that, it'd have to be sitting around like 750 right now for it to be like a sure thing. But I think it could possibly.
Well, there's a good and bad thing going on with IMAX when it concerns the Odyssey. The Odyssey has an exclusive 3-week run, which ties and bleeds over into the Spider-Man Brand New Days release window. So with IMAX, there's a lot of still riding on the Odyssey, and the fact that it's still driving a great percentage of the overall ticket sales. But once that 3-week exclusive window comes up, do IMAX theaters, do they stay with the Odyssey? Do they go with Spider-Man Brand New Day? I'm not sure exactly what they will do, and that's going to be interesting to see, because Spider-Man Brand New Day is expected to go possibly over $200 million domestically. So it will be the hot thing here this time next week when we talk about it. So with that said, once that 3-week exclusivity window is up and on IMAX for the Odyssey, will enough people see it in regular theaters like you were talking about to sustain it for that final $350 million essentially to get over that hump? I think this next 10 days, I'm going to make it this next week will be a big determiner whether or not that's going to happen, I believe, or not.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. If it doesn't break by the end of next week, I think if it doesn't break like a 760, somewhere in between 760 and 800, I don't think it's going to make it.
I hear you. So that's the case. If it goes above 800, I think it has a great chance to go ahead and finish off. And plus the reception from around the world internationally. It is doing something that you need to do, Josh, and that is it is scoring better internationally than domestic. Even though domestic has really been strong and everybody's been talking about it here in the States and the IMAX and then the whole controversies and all that stuff, and it's driving big business here. You and I are not even going to be able to see it until this week. You and I haven't been able to see it until this week because the sheer demand here in the States. But the fact that it's doing even better in international gives me hope that it can get over $1 billion.
Yeah, I agree, man. I hope that it gets there, because I mean, how amazing would that be to have 4 movies over $1 billion? Like, we haven't even had like we had 2 last year, right? Or was there more than that?
I think there's 2, but I think the most that we've had was 3 or 4. I think in 2022, in regards to that. As far as I'll look it up for sure. But yeah, they wanted to go ahead and talk. That's the other thing I want to talk about. That Toy Story 5 is now the biggest movie of 2025. It has garnered now about $1.022 billion. So it now has, like, in one weekend, passed both the Super Mario Galaxy movie and Michael for the top spot. Your thoughts on Toy Story 5? I mean, at this point, it seemingly looks like you have to go into more Toy Story 5s for a series that seemingly ended ended on a great note on Toy Story 3, but so much for that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, at some point you have to say, all right, we did what we did good with this. It's time to move on, because if there's a future where, like, 10 years from now, or by the time I reach 60, right, and there's like 10 Toy Story movies, I think that at that point, the series will have lost its soul, because it is just there to make money now. And I appreciate what they did with this new one, right? With, like, they're talking about kids resorting to technology instead of playing with toys, and I appreciate that, because, like, that is actually happening, right? But really, there's not. I don't really think there's any more story that they can tell at this point, because if they do another 2 or 3 movies, like, we've all had toys, right? They're going to be they'd be disintegrated by that time, right? Especially since Woody is like a 1970 1980s cowboy toy. So I don't know, man. I don't want to see that.
Well, I told you I went to Pixar last year. I saw the studio, saw the campus. It's actually a campus, I should say, a studio. It's a campus of several different buildings, and it's really a great facility and great place to go. But it'll get a little bit thinner if they don't continue on with their what's tried and true. We talked about this earlier this year when it comes to Hoppers. Whenever they bring now something original, they have to cross their fingers, because look what happens. Hoppers doesn't do great. It does under $400 million worldwide, excuse me. And even though it's a good movie, critics praised it, things of that nature, doesn't matter. They get the layoffs last week, as far as on that side of for those individuals, that team who worked on that movie. A lot of the layoffs were targeted in their direction because that movie didn't deliver, as opposed to Toy Story 5, which will continue to get the accolades and things of that nature, Josh. So it sends a message, but it sends the message of business, and it sends what on morally what may some people may think is a wrong message, but it just tells you what Disney is here for. They're here for the money, and they're not here for anything else.
Yeah, but I also feel like if they truly sat down and, like, put dollar signs aside, right, and, like, actually did what Disney has been known to do in the past, right, which is market research. What do people want to watch? What's going to drive people in the theaters? And Pixar made a movie based on those results. I think that you could see a new franchise being born. I think you could see a movie being born that's going to cross $1 billion, because like look at Inside Out. Like Inside Out didn't cross $1 billion, but it came close. Inside Out 2 did cross $1 billion. So I mean, those were relatively newer things, and those are things having to do with emotions, right? Like that's something that resonates with everybody. They just need to like stop trying to like make a quick buck and play the long game. And I think that that would work out better for them, because I like I said, we don't want to see, Finding Nemo 6 and Toy Story 9. And, I'd be down to see another Incredibles movie for sure. But,
now that is on the way, by the way. That is on the way. That's
yeah.
Don't worry, that's on the way. That's already something in production.
Fantastic. But yeah, I mean, if they actually like did what Disney does, and at their theme parks, and applied it to like how they operate their movie studios, I think Pixar could find another $1 billion franchise.
Well, we'll see, but I wanted to go ahead to answer your question from earlier. In this decade, well, first of all, it starts off with 2019. Let's start off with 2019. That was the peak of cinema, I think, for movie-going audiences, Josh, because we had 9 $9 billion films that came out that year in 2019. 9.
Yeah.
2020 had one film actually in the world of COVID. Yes, they did have $1 billion film. That was the 800 out of China. 2021 had Spider-Man No Way Home. That was the only one. Then in 2022, you had 3: Avatar: The Way of Water, Top Gun: Maverick, and Jurassic World Dominion. 2023 was Barbie and the Super Mario Brothers movie. You could almost say Oppenheimer, because that did well over $900 million, but that didn't do $1 billion. But almost, based off of Barbenheimer. 2024, it was, like you said, Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2. That was a great year for Disney. 2025, Zootopia 2, Avatar, Fire and Ash, and Lilo and Stitch. That was another great year for Disney with those successes. So that's 6 in 2 years there, although they did have their failures in those years as well. But this year, we may get 4, Josh. Actually 5, because guess what's coming out later this week in Spider-Man?
Spider-Man and Avengers Doomsday. Like outside of just like the Disney stuff, I mean, I think there are a couple other possible heavies that could reach, make it almost return us to pre-COVID movie theater numbers.
Yeah. This is a year that it is advancing beyond 2025, so that's a good step in the right direction. But yes, I think it's going to take a little bit more before we can start talking about it rivaling 2018, 2019, those type of numbers. But it's in the right direction. It's in the right direction. That's a good sign for people heading back to the movie theaters, especially within the age of streaming and things of that nature. So it's great to see that movies that were meant for the cinema are going strictly first and having a run on big screen, and people are differentiating now what they need to see on streaming and then what they need to see in the theaters, and they're going back to the theaters, and it's a good sign as we're seeing the success of several movies here with Spider-Man Brand New Day coming right around the corner, and Avengers Doomsday coming up as well, which we'll talk about here in a second as well, my friend. But Josh, any last thoughts on the box office? The Obsession won last weekend in the top 10. It probably won't make $500 million, but you have to consider this one of the biggest success stories of the decade.
Oh, absolutely, man. Because I mean, like I said, I've said this a lot of times on the show, right? It's like people love movies that are relatable, right? Like people always, and that concept of wishing that the person that you had a crush on reciprocated your feelings, like that is a very relatable idea, except it's taken to an extreme in that movie, obviously. But like that, these are the movies people want to watch, the ones that like take them back to the human experience, man. Like this is it, and I think we need more movies like this. So, but I will make a comment on you had mentioned like people deciding what they want to watch versus what they want to stream. The problem is, and I think we've hit this topic before, but it's getting so stinking expensive to have these streaming services, man. Like, this is the first time this past weekend when me and my wife were at AT&T. She brought up us going back to like DirecTV or like cable, man, and cutting streaming services. So like that was crazy, right?
Well, the thing is, I can't blame her because also what's going on. Apple TV, well, Apple TV has done a great job of increasing its awareness. Warner Brothers with HBO Max and whatnot doing a great job of increasing its awareness. It all starts with Netflix. And Josh, I think you and I have to have a discussion maybe on next week's show, along with, of course, what we're going to report on Spider-Man Brand New Day. I think we have to have a discussion on what's going on with Netflix, because Netflix is undergoing, I think, some issues as far as how they're reporting their numbers, and also the fact that a lot of their shows, their successive seasons, are having dramatic drops in viewing, which is or should be concerning to everyone out there as far as anybody that's interested in retaining Netflix for the long term.
Yeah, I know they just like fired some one of their big one of their big wigs up in the executives. Yeah, I guess it sounds like they're having some culture issues in there too. So yeah, definitely a topic worth hitting, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're again the Netflix bubble. I don't know. I'm going to say it's bursting, but again, with other competitors that are driving the marketplace at this point in time and having shows that people are talking about, it's something that I think we need to discuss when it comes to Netflix here in an upcoming show, indeed. But if you have thoughts on the box office, as far as the great success of the Odyssey in its second week, heading towards $650 million out there, absolutely incredible worldwide feat. Will it achieve the $1 billion status? Please let us know and join Toy Story 5, which is now the biggest movie of the year, and also as well Super Mario Galaxy, and of course Michael has $1 billion hits. Let us know your thoughts, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. Well, Josh, we're going to spend a lot of time here for the rest of the show on Comic-Con. Before we get into the Marvel stuff, I wanted to go ahead and ask, because we often forget about the other things that are presented either at Hall H at the San Diego Convention Center, which I've actually seen physically. I've been by the convention center actually on more than one occasion there. I love it, the fact that they have it right next to the beach, so you can take the fans that come in, the people that are at Comic-Con, they could go ahead and experience, and they've got the beach right next door. So with that said, though, they've got so many things else that are going on. What were some of the more interesting things that you came across, or that I sent to you? Because I know I was trying to send you Comic-Con trailers as they were coming out. Anything that really caught your eye you wanted to go ahead and share before we get heavy into Marvel?
Yeah, actually, so Blade Runner, all right? That's
Blade Runner 2099. It's an exclusive Amazon
2099
series, executive produced by Ridley Scott.
Yes, so that looks cool. Like I know they've been taught. They did like an animated thing, and then this, right? So this takes place 60 years after the last movie.
2048. It's almost 60 years. Actually, no, it's like 50 years. You could just say it's 51 years after Blade Runner 2048. Doing the math right on that. So
yeah, so I'm curious.
2049. I'm sorry, it is 50 years. 2048. 2049. My gosh, how we forget so soon, Josh, or I forget so soon. It's 2049 for Blade Runner with Ryan Gosling and Harrison Ford, and 50 years later, it's 2099.
Yeah. So that looks pretty cool. There's been a lot, as we know, there was a lot of people like heckling the casting decisions of the show, but I think it looks cool. I think the casting's appropriate, and I think the feel of the show is really cool, and I'm excited to see where the story goes, because as we've I will die on the hill, man, that Blade Runner 2049 was an absolute masterpiece. But I guess you can only kind of ask the question of what makes us human. So so many times in so many different forms. So I'm really curious to know what the main story of this one is.
I did want to mention to you that the Black Lotus was the animated series, and that was 2032. So it goes Blade Runner, Black Lotus, Blade Runner 2049, and then Blade Runner 2099. And with Michelle Yeoh involved in this series, her stuff that she's done in recent years since picking up the Oscar, which is well deserved, has been hit and miss. I'm not going to say she's been cash grabbing because I mean a lot of actors do once they get that Oscar. Let's just put that out there. But some of her choices have not been great. The Witcher series, do you remember that one? Star Trek last year's section, the Star Trek section officer movie that she made for Paramount, that wasn't exactly well thought of either. Yeah, that's her selections have been up and down since getting the Oscars. So let's hope this one is going to be actually a lot better, because from what I saw in the trailer, it looks very promising. And like you talked about with Hunter Schafer, people are already starting to talk about it there. But I think it fits the character that Hunter Schafer playing, and Hunter Schafer, themselves. I believe it fits all within that certain vernacular of what they're trying to come across and what they're trying to get across in Blade Runner 2099.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the whole idea, though, right? Behind the show is like, where that's a future where you can literally customize like yourself, like physically. You can customize yourself physically, and there's no lines. There's no lines, right? Like you can do whatever you want to. So like the casting is, it doesn't matter, male, female, whatever in the casting decision. Like I think as long as the person playing the part is playing it well, that's what matters to me,
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. So again, I'm pretty excited about it. I know you are as well, as far as Blade Runner 2099 coming up later this year. In fact, it's going to be, I think what didn't it come out? Didn't they say November? I think they said November.
Yeah, we have a stacked rest of the year because I think November has both Rings of Power, right, and Blade Runner.
Yes, that's correct. It starts on November 25th for Blade Runner 2099, and that just comes off of what to be a tail end of, or actually right in the middle of Rings of Power Season 3, which we can go into right now. You said you were more encouraged by it. I know it's been hit or miss for a lot of people, but as someone who follows the Lord of the Rings medium as far as what comes out, Lord of the Rings, as far as how it's being portrayed, again, I'm feeling more encouraged. I followed season 1 and 2. I didn't have some great lingering thoughts about it as far as something that's like just blew me away or anything like that. I saw the production value in season 1. I saw them season 2 kind of curtailed a little bit back from what season 1 was because of the sheer expense involved. Season 3 looks like it's a happy medium, and it's starting to tell more of the stories that we're familiar with from the movies as well.
Yeah, I mean, so I think a lot of the money went into world building, and that's something that Peter Jackson actually did that really well, but didn't bog down his storytelling with Lord of the Rings. Like he told the story and built the world. He did that whole thing in the beginning of the movie that talked about where the ring came from, right? And that was about a 10-minute scene, but that's all he really needed. Whereas like Rings of Power did world building for an entire season and a half before like the story finally started to happen. And I think now we're in a place where, judging by the trailers, and I like this. I like the show. All right, I like the show. It has had its slow moments, but I don't think it's worth all like the vitriol it gets online, right? From people, the purists out there. You're not gonna be able to please everybody. And you have the purists out there go, well, this wasn't talked about in the original writings of Tolkien, and it just then don't watch it. It's really that simple. But like the thing too is that they're trying to fill in gaps that were never like written out. So here we are. We have the story, and I think that for me, it's like going back to Harry Potter, right? Any excuse to go back to this world, I think I'll take it, whether it good or bad. But you look at the trailer, and if the trailer is any indication of like the pacing and the storytelling for the season, I think it's going to be pretty good.
I think it is as well. I'm looking forward to it, and we will catch it. It is coming out in November, I think 11/11, if I remember correctly. So it will be coming out in November. And then again, if you got your Amazon Prime, or if you do decide to renew your Amazon membership, make sure you renew it in November as it gets closer. Plus, I also think, Josh, it's not unintended or not coincidental, because when do people mostly shop for gifts and buy things on Amazon?
November.
Oh,
Prime Day, yeah, but I mean, if you're talking about holiday shopping, people usually wait till November to do that.
Yes, exactly. So I have a feeling a lot of memberships will be renewed, like ours, during that course of time. So yeah, please check out the trailer for Rings of Power Season 3 coming up for you right there as well. But also wanted to go ahead and mention something. You are our Resident Evil. Between you, me, and TJ, you are our Resident Evil expert. And so Zach Kreger, the guy behind Weapons, the big smash surprise hit of last year, is directing Resident Evil this year. I sent you the video, the trailer for Resident Evil. Did you get a chance to check it out? And tell me your thoughts on this new envisioning again, because, Sony's going to wring this bad boy to death. Every single dime of Resident Evil is going to be wrung out either on any media landscape. And Zach Kreger may, though, be bringing what we think or hope is a fresh take on Resident Evil.
Okay, I'm going to say I got a hot take for everybody, all right?
Here we go.
The Welcome to Raccoon City, remember that one that came out? Is during COVID. I think that's probably why, and that's one of the reasons the movie didn't stick with audiences, because nobody watched it. But I think that was a pretty decent adaptation of the I think the second Resident Evil game, I think is what they were adapting. But I thought it was a pretty good movie, man. But this movie is interesting because it's part of the Resident Evil lore. They said it was like the officially part of Resident Evil lore, which is cool. But also it's not trying to adapt anything specific from the Resident Evil franchise. It's its own thing. Like it references Raccoon City, and they talk about what the outbreak zone in the trailer, but it really is it's its own beast. And I think that gave Zach Kreger was his name. I think that gave him the freedom that he needed to really play around with this idea. And I hope that it sticks, man, because we need something fresh, and I wonder if it does well, are they going to move away from trying to adapt the video games and stories into movies, or are they just going to go in this direction where you have the video game universe and you have these movies that exist in the same universe but are kind of their own thing?
It's funny because did you get the drop at the end? Because they didn't mention anything in regards to Raccoon City or something that you would be familiar with. It just looked like a very interesting way to shoot a zombie movie, as far as it's concerned, until the very end when they drop the Raccoon City on where he has to take whatever it is in that, because he's transporting, I think, organs or something like that, in that organ transplant or whatever is in that transplant thing, to Raccoon City Hospital. So they don't drop that until the very end. So again, I thought that was clever. And, this could be a very interesting take. And obviously coming off the success of Weapons, Zach Kreger is going to get a long runway on how to develop his vision of the Resident Evil franchise.
Yeah, and I definitely if the movie itself looks great. Don't get me wrong, the trailer looks really, really good, and I'm excited to watch it. But yeah, it just makes you wonder, if it's successful, where do they go from here? What's next?
What is next, indeed? But yeah, if you have thoughts on, of course, Blade Runner 2099, of course, Resident Evil, the newest version with Zach Kreger, Rings of Power, Lanterns also as well. Wanted to mention Lanterns to you as well. This is I don't know. Is it starting to become I don't want to say desperate, but is it starting to become a little bit concerning? I know that they talked about the rumors behind the scenes that they maybe modified the Lantern series a little bit and did some things and worked on some things behind the scenes, rewrites, things of that nature on it. But again, Lanterns, from what I saw, it looks halfway decent, and it also looks like some of the most developed characters that they are probably making in the James Gunn DC universe so far.
Yeah, I think a big. It looks. Yeah, it looks good. And I thought that it has looked good since the original trailer for it dropped. But I think the problem originally was that it had started filming before James Gunn took over. So I don't know if it was supposed to originally resonate in the Zack Snyder universe or what was going on there. But I think a lot of changes behind the scene was to remove it from its old constraints and put it into a set of new constraints. And I mean, that might not necessarily be a bad thing, but I think the Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, and then you have, I'm assuming the kid is going to end up being Jon Stewart, maybe, or
yes,
and then you had
I think that's correct.
And then not to make assumptions based on race, but and I think Nathan Fillion, like the Guy Gardner character, like, didn't really do much for me in Superman, but like I am like the two, the Kyle Chandler and the other guy, like their dynamic in the trailer just, it makes it look like it's going to be a fun show.
Kyle Chandler, though, the way that it's set up in the trailer, he just does not look like he has long to stay in. The thing is, I kind of like what I saw of his character so far.
Same.
But it doesn't look like he has a long stay in the world of Green Lantern from what they give you. Now, it could be wrong, and I'm hoping I'm wrong once the series comes out. But Jon Stewart, again, that character is going to be, I think, the main Green Lantern going forward. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that works itself out. Because, again, when it comes to Green Lantern, this is I guess because of the Ryan Reynolds debacle, so many years ago now, that they've been afraid to approach it in a certain way. So I'm hoping that it will be something that it can actually be a cornerstone as far as being able to go ahead and take a look at it. But it is Jon Stewart, Josh, and I really think that, again, from what I'm seeing, I really like what they see. Aaron Pierre is the actor's name, but yeah, absolutely. Is looking like something that I think, if they keep both characters, could be something that really could work well into the DC universe.
So I forget where I was watching this. There's an interview with Ryan Reynolds, right? And I guess James Gunn had actually asked him if he wanted to return as Green Lantern. I guess he told him to go like F himself, like jokingly, but
yes,
that would have been interesting to see him come back to see if even Ryan Reynolds could redeem one of the worst movies ever made.
Well, again, I'm looking forward to it. I know you are as well. I think it's something that I think a lot of people have to go ahead and check out, because for me, I see it as possibly in its, even though it's in its early stages, one of the more important steps for James Gunn's DC universe. So Lanterns is something I think a lot of people have to go ahead and check out when it comes to HBO Max. And if that's the case, I think it's coming out here in August, if I'm not mistaken. August 16th. Yeah, I'll say August 16th, so right around the corner indeed. But before we head on out, my friend, we leave the rest of the time for your friend and mine, Marvel, as they rocked this was the biggest crowd ever at Hall H at San Diego Comic-Con for a Marvel presentation. Even though no timeline was shown, they did admit and say they have things mapped out to 2042. So Spaceballs. I want to go ahead. Spaceballs. I forgot. Spaceballs, the new one, with Rick Moranis debuting at Comic-Con for the first time and them giving him a standing ovation. But they mocked Marvel with their own timeline.
Funny.
That was so funny indeed. But your thoughts on Spaceballs, the new one? I still think they should have used the same, the title that they had made up in the original movie, but they kind of changed it a little bit around. But I'm sure the well-intended meaning of picking on sequels will still be there.
Yeah, what's weird is like Spaceballs has never really held a sacred place in my heart like it does to everybody else's. Like I thought it was funny, and it was just a movie I never really thought about again after that, except when making Star Wars references. But obviously it has a special place in a lot of people's hearts and minds, and I think it's really cool that they're going back to it, especially and like I always loved John Candy. Like John Candy has been in some of my favorite movies ever made. So I really dig in the the homages that are being paid to him. But yeah, I think that it's cool that they're going back, and it's a commentary, on the sequel universe that needs to be made. And when I saw that, like my first thought was like, this is a joke. I'm like, okay, yes, it is a joke. But it was a pretty stinking funny joke because like Marvel has just gotten so big and bloated, and to see them riff on that was actually pretty funny.
I remember when I received that first trailer for the original Spaceballs to my local station. I had requested to movie studios at that point in time if they could send and share their trailers. And back then you would get them on big 3/4-inch tapes to go ahead and show audiences. And that's what I did for the local school district channel that I was with when I was in high school. Yeah, I got a chance to have it sent to me. And that was one of the few that did, was that trailer. And yeah, it was the famous Pizza the Hut scene, as far as Pizza the Hut, with Dom DeLuise playing the role of Pizza the Hut. So I remember that quite fondly indeed. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Spaceballs, the new one that's coming out. And of course, bringing back Rick Moranis, who got a very, very warm and well-deserved reception for his first appearance ever at Comic-Con indeed. But before we head on out, I do want to go ahead and knock out what happened at Marvel, because they did dominate Comic-Con yet again. DC almost just lets it happen and just gives it up. And okay,
were they there? Like I read nothing about DC outside of the Lantern stuff. Was there anything?
That was their representation.
Oh my gosh, because I saw the Clayface thing, and like even them showing everyone. So have you noticed that the media is trying to make the Clayface movie seem like it's going to be fantastic, but then you sit there and watch the trailers and you're like, why do I care about this? It's just they're trying to prop it up. It feels like.
It feels like it, but it's not working with me. They did a lot of interviews and press. Clayface did. The star of Clayface, I forget the kid's name. He was there all over Comic-Con doing interviews. So Clayface and Lanterns were trying to go ahead and get some attention and I think Lanterns did a better job of it than Clayface, but I'm not impressed with Clayface at all. I'm sorry. It's not the way I would continue my DC universe. But let's get into Marvel, my friend. A lot of announcements were made. No timeline was set, even though, again, the whiteboard on Kevin Feige's office has up to 2042 with projects going on. X-Men was not mapped out as far as concerned, to a lot of people's chagrin, but Black Panther was with a now adult Don Johnson, I believe, is his name. If you remember him as one of the standouts from the Long Walk. I think he did a great job there. If you see that movie, you get a chance to go ahead and check that out. So yeah, absolutely looking forward to seeing what Black Panther 3, which is coming around the corner here in not too distant time, as that's coming around the corner as far as a Black Panther 3. What are your thoughts on David Johnson? David Johnson's as far as how did he grow up so fast in Black Panther 3?
So it remind me again, what part did he play? What part has he been in any of the other Black Panther movies? Because I know he was
the kid. It's the kid from Black Panther 2.
Okay. Oh, gotcha. All right. Yeah, I mean,
remember with Lupita Nyong'o at the end, they're on the beach and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, definitely. It's those Wakandan genes, man.
I guess so. It's coming out in 2028, so I guess he's got a lot of growing up to do between. So
Yeah, but
he was
this is
also an
actually
alien Romulus, by the way. He was also an alien Romulus.
I remember him in that movie. This is going to be a decent like litmus test, right, for the Marvel universe, right? Like if they can handle this passing of the torch, if audiences can handle this passing of the torch, this could very well like show what that transition could look like with bigger heroes like Spider-Man and Iron Man. Like we have that. They had those rumors floating around that what's his name, the kid from Iron Man 3 was gonna become the new Iron Man, and then that's Tom Holland's already wanting to step away from the role and they want to bring Miles Morales in, and this could be a good test to see if audiences can handle that type of transition. So I'm down, man. I'm down.
Well, Miles Morales will be coming in at some point. A live action Miles Morales, I'm told, as far as is being discussed already. So I believe that's going to be a reality at some point in time in the not too distant future. But speaking of what's going on with Avengers Doomsday, before we get to the announcement of Ghost Rider and all that, your thoughts though on Avengers Doomsday before we head on out, my friend, because absolutely interesting that now that Deadpool was officially announced, of course, Captain Carter, Haley Atwell was also announced as far as being in the movie as well. Where does that leave you now with Deadpool being a part of what's going on with Avengers Doomsday and the setup for all this coming off of the trailer we saw last week?
So is he going to be in the movie, or is it was this
he was begging for it? He was begging for it, and then all these they were reporting that he is. So
yeah, I mean, and I feel like probably there's still people that have not been announced for the movie that will show up at some point. They got like everyone's commenting on like, oh, the dark spot in the trailer, right? They were hiding somebody, but yeah, I mean, I think and honestly too, like I think Spider-Man will show up at some point, but yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool. Like I said, like I would love to see him fighting with the Avengers. Like I would even be willing to see his humor toned down to watch him do it, because I just think it'd be really neat, kind of a full circle thing. But yeah, I mean, who was anybody else announced for the movie outside Ryan Reynolds? Oh, Haley Atwell. Yeah, I don't.
Yes,
that one's weird. I'm not too sure how like Steve Rogers ended up here. I know there's speculation that he's actually like another character from another universe, but I don't know. It's hard to. I've been trying to like read up on theories on how he actually ended up back in this world. Like, did the multiverse allow him to like walk through a door? And then there's people saying that him staying in the timeline that Haley Atwell's character was in is caused this whole thing. But we saw it happen with Peter Parker. So was he like the seed for it, or what happened there? But I don't know. It's this kind of story though, like them hiding these details, that makes me really want to watch this movie.
I'm still not super excited. I'm going to go see it, but I'm still not super excited. I'm still got Dune 3 ahead on my list, my friend, as far as the movie I want to see more, but that comes out on December 18th. Still thinking they should have moved it up a week with Doomsday so they could get some at least 1 week of exclusive IMAX theaters, but they want that Infinity Vision. They're stubborn. They're being stubborn, and that's the way they want to do it. So, okay, what have you. But I don't know how much it's going to affect the box office ultimately for Doomsday, that they will not have those IMAX theaters initially. So we'll have to wait and see. But with that said, the last thing I want to go ahead and touch on, my friend, before we head on out, again, like you said, Avengers Doomsday, they told you a lot and they showed you little, as normal, as per the usual type of deal for what we see with Marvel. It's the usual MO for them, so to speak. But they did announce a new Ghost Rider and a Ghost Rider film coming in 2028 as well. Speaking of what we talked about with Black Panther coming in 2028 for Black Panther 3, Ryan Gosling, the new favorite child for Disney right now, because Star Wars Starfighter with him is coming out in 2027, here to save the Star Wars film universe. Looks like he's going to be the new Ghost Rider. Johnny Blaze is his character, and he'll be coming out with it. Your thoughts, my friend, on it? I'm just going to say this. they're coming out with it, and they've got a script, and they've got something that they feel work. That's great, but how come they couldn't figure this out for Mahershala Ali and Blade? Blade is a much more interesting character to me than Ghost Rider. I don't get it, my friend. They'll do it for Ryan Gosling, but not for Mahershala Ali.
So Kevin Feige actually had talked about this one a little bit. He said he's been constantly humiliated by how much trouble that they have had trying to get the new Blade reboot off the ground. And as of right now, I don't know what's happening with that. It sounds like they might be leaning into a final film with Wesley Snipes, but whether it's a question of whether or not he's going to be too old to play it by the time that rolls around. But this Ghost Riders was weird to me, right? Because what does that mean for? Because I always assumed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was tied into the Marvel universe, and where does that put what that other guy's Ghost Rider character that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
He's like,
I know he's not. Yeah, well, I know he's not Johnny Blaze, but are they going to reference that Ghost Rider power that was in him?
Maybe in the Secret Wars movie, but you never know. You never know. They could reference that other character being handed that quote unquote gift, for lack of a better term, to him from one to the other. They could do that. They could work that out. Say, hey, in all essence, you're the higher paid actor. Here you go. Here's Ghost Rider. Knock it out. So there you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, you could tell too that like the MCU as it stands now, like they're kind of just trying to forget about everything that happened in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I'm kind of like the redhead stepchild. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm down to see it. I just like what is going to be his. Is he going to have a bigger role in the rest of the MCU though? Like that's a question there too.
Before we hand it out, one last question for you. You saw Comic-Con as a whole. Is there anything that you wanted to go ahead and mention that you saw at Comic-Con that you liked, that you wanted to call out? Or is there anything that you feel left out, that was left out by Marvel, DC, or anything as far as that you really wanted to know more about that you didn't see at Comic-Con?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I had expected like DC to have a bigger spectacle because like honestly, again, I don't care about Clayface and Lanterns looks cool, but like what's next? Why especially after being purchased, right? This new Paramount taking over Warner Brothers. Why should we be excited about the future of the DC universe? And also, Guillermo del Toro was up there talking a lot too about AI in film, and he's got a lot of like. He's an artist, right? Like he was been saying that like AI is going, they keep citing it as like saving costs, but Guillermo del Toro's up there saying it's a lot more expensive and it ruins, like it takes the art away. And I'm curious how many other filmmakers share his sentiment.
We'll have to wait and see, my friend. But again, for me, no Man of Tomorrow news really emanating from Comic-Con, which kind of disappointed me as well. So again, where we're at with DC is in question. And that's pretty tough to say. And that's pretty tough to say so early in the James Gunn universe, indeed. But if any of you have thoughts on what's going on with Comic-Con, it was a great weekend overall. We'll keep trying again to get a press pass. I've been trying for 10 years now. I'll keep trying till the day I die to get into Comic-Con. But if you have thoughts on Comic-Con, please let us know, popculturecosmos@yahoo.com. But Josh, it's been a great episode. You knocked it out of the park. As always, my friend, any last thoughts before we head on out?
None that I can think of at the moment. I think we got it all, man. But I also know that there's a lot of things at Comic-Con that go like undisturbed because like the media fixates on certain things. So there might have been some things announced that we don't know anything about. It's kind of one of those things you got to be there to see it. But it's a one day, man. One day
Indeed. But this weekend is going to be interesting because Josh and I actually this week are going to go see the Odyssey. We'll share our thoughts on that on next week's show. Plus, also as well, Spider-Man Brand New Day hits theaters, so it'll be a busy time with one of the biggest, if not the biggest, weekend of the year for movies with Spider-Man Brand New Day and the Odyssey as well.
Yes.
So for Josh the Great Peterson, this is Gerald Glassford. It's another beautiful day in paradise right here in the Pop Culture Cosmos. We thank you for listening, and here's hoping you have yourself a great day.
Welcome to the Pop Culture Cosmos.